Rejoice, rejoice. This, on the fourth Sunday of Lent, the church tells us that we should rejoice. Our antiphon starts with, "O rejoice, Jerusalem." We call this Laetare Sunday or Rejoice Sunday. We wear pink vestments, rose vestments, actually, to just show that we are rejoicing here on this Sunday. Here, in the midpoint of our 40-day journey of Lent, the church reminds us that we need to rejoice, that even though Lent is a time of penance, is a penitential time, that it is about rejoicing. It is about keeping our mind, our focus on what our destiny is leading to. It's leading to a reminder of our baptism where we were united with Christ, and we rejoice in being united with Christ. In this darkness that is Lent, we see the light of Christ shining brightly before us, and that causes us to rejoice. But it is particularly hard for us to rejoice in this fourth Sunday of Lent because we're faced with the crisis, the coronavirus epidemic. It's not only a health crisis now, but an economic crisis. It's hard for us to see where we should rejoice. But now, even more than ever, we need this Laetare Sunday, this Rejoice Sunday, to remind us that indeed, that no matter how dark it looks, the light of Christ does shine through, and we indeed can rejoice. We are tempted to be blinded by this panic of this economic and health crisis that we're undergoing. But here on this fourth Sunday of Lent, our gospel reminds us to open our eyes, to see Jesus Christ in our midst, to see the good works that God continues to do in our life. The man born blind was caught in his own health and economic crisis, born blind and forced to just beg for money at the pool of Siloam. But then he encountered Christ, and Christ allowed him to see the good works that God does in our life. When the disciples see the man born blind, they ask Jesus, who sinned? They want to look at whose fault it is, who to blame. In crisis, we're often driven that same way, to look to blame someone, right? Now with the coronavirus epidemic, we're looking to blame someone. Well, it's the fault of the Chinese officials who didn't warn us soon enough, or it's President Trump's fault for something the way he's responding, what he's doing. It's the church's fault for canceling Mass for us. We look to blame someone here in this crisis. Instead of being blinded, blaming someone for this, we should look into ourselves and look to see the light of Christ, to look to see the good works that God is doing for us, rather than wasting time worrying about what is being done or not being done. Jesus does heal the blind man, but everyone around the blind man remains blind to the good works that God is doing to this man, to the miracle that Jesus performed. They want him to deny that Jesus somehow did this miracle. They want him to deny the good works. It is too often in our culture today that as God does good works, people around us want us to remain blind to the good works that Jesus is doing. They want us to panic. They want us to not see that God is working in our lives. Our challenge in this middle of this crisis is not to be blinded by the panic. The media and the critics want to blind us and confuse us with all sorts of information. But we need to see the works that God is doing in our lives. We need to see the work that God is doing all around us, the work that God is calling us to do. We need to be concerned but not worried. We need to be diligent but not panic. Here in this time, we need to allow the grace of our Lord Jesus Christ to open up our eyes so that we can see the good work that God is doing around us.